Rise and shine, McAllister. Welcome to Harbor Mountain Coffee House at 224 South 3rd Street in McAllister. Come have a cup of joe with us and enjoy the show. You're tuned into Coffee with the Coach, brought to you by Tanny Hill Furniture, Dowdery Pharmacy, Dobson Fiber, Reagan Auto, live on KNED 1150 AM, 98.3 FM, as well as video streaming on YouTube. I'm your voice of the Buffaloes, Brandon Green, and you couldn't have scripted a more fascinating start to the 5A state football playoffs, as right off the bat we have a rematch of the 2021 5A state championship as your McAllister Buffaloes travel to Collinsville to take on the Cardinals. Reminder that military veterans, as well as one guest with that veteran, will receive free admission to tomorrow night's game. So as always, we thank our men and women in our nation's military for their service and sacrifice. If you are absolutely unable to make the drive, you can listen on KNED 1150 AM, 98.3 FM, the KNED app, or online at McAllisterRadio.com. And now with all that said, let's welcome the head coach of the McAllister Buffaloes, Forrest Mazey.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, a couple weeks since we were back over here. I had to cancel it the night before. I was texting you.
Yep.
Said wife went into labor, but we're all good. Harper Marie Ruth Green, she made her appearance at 8:45 in the morning of game day. So she's already ready to be a Buffalo. And
right.
For people on YouTube right now, if you want to see, that's her right there. So little picture of her all in her Buffalo gear, and she's new to the herd, and she's a week old today. So, yep, that's the reason why we weren't here last week.
Enjoy it. It goes fast.
Yeah. Any advice for a first-time dad? I was going to have this be a fan question, but
I tell you, it's just enjoy the moments because they go fast, and the more kids you have, the less you worry about what they pick up off the floor and put in their mouth. I mean, as you go to 2, 3, and maybe even 4, but they will put a lot of things in their mouth. So be prepared, and it could be random stuff. I mean, it's not good.
Biggest advice I got so far is sleep when they sleep.
Try.
Try. It's hard when you go do games on Friday nights.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to sleep because you're going to say, "Oh, time to do something." Then you'll be dead tired, and they wake up, and it just is what it is.
Well, all that said, Coach, we had a game that day, 44-6 over Glenpool. First one I've ever missed in my time here, so I'm going to have you tell me what you thought of the game.
I thought overall we was a great game plan, and the kids played hard. I think, they started running the clock in the fourth. The referees, I don't remember agreeing to that, but it was part of it. What was the score? 44-6.
That might be scoregami.
Yeah, 44-6. They never really threatened. We played well. There's a couple things we need to clean up. A couple fourth down conversions I think we should have got. Missed a block, missed a read. But overall, good response into comparison to the week before. But, we locked it in on some penalties. We didn't have as many procedural penalties. Still had a couple that we need to clean up. But like I said, mostly it was just a cleanup game, doing what we needed to do to be ready for the playoffs.
I'm sure defense did what you expected, but still -8 total yards in the first half is pretty solid.
Yeah, -8 total yards. Great game plan, and offense was doing what we needed to do. We needed to see some things, and we did.
Connection between junior quarterback Caden Lussnow, senior wide receiver Chaz Bradley, pretty dynamic on Thursday night of last week. I know Caden had a career high, near 300 yards, 289, 4 touchdowns. Those are career highs as well. Bradley, season high, 167 receiving yards. What did you think about that connection?
I thought they did a good job of just taking, doing what they're coached to do in practice. I think that's going to be the number one thing for us going forward. Are we going to do what we're coached to do in practice at the level we expect? We can't. If you freelance, it better be on a whim, and it better be because everything that we coached was taken away. And that's what we have to do better, and that's what we have to do going forward in the playoffs. We can't do what we want to do as individuals and expect the success of the team in a game. I think that kind of reared its head a little bit in Sapulpa. We're doing sometimes not doing what we're coached to do, doing our own thing a little bit, and kind of trying to think, maybe sometimes underthink that we might know better in the moment than what we really know, instead of just staying true to what we're being told. And we had a nice little meeting after the Friday before, and explained that to them with a little bit of film. And sometimes kids do that. Sometimes they take matters into their own hands, but we got that fixed, and Glenpool was a good turning point for us.
Another player who had an excellent game, junior receiver Eli Chapman. He's been having to play with a cast on his wrist for nearly the entire season, but he gets to have 5 catches, 75 yards, a couple touchdowns. What do you think about him?
I thought he did a good job rebounding. I think, had a couple drops in the game, could have had more. more, concentration stuff, catching with your eyes, not your, your eyes to me are very important as a receiver. Everybody says catch with your hands, catch with your hands. Well, your eyes have to guide it to your hands. So I always say catch it with your eyes. So we go back to some basics. He got a lot of catches after practice this week. I think he's just going to be continue to be more solid. Playing with the cast on your hand. Obviously, you have to change your dynamics of catching the ball a little bit when you're trapping it, and so he's had a good week of practice, done a good job of getting the extra catches and concentrating on really using his eyes and his hands.
Now, lineman of the week and scout team player of the week.
Who was our lineman of the week, Sean? Was it Woods? It was Woods. Sean Woods was the lineman of the week. Scout team player of the week was Drayton Pouncil. Did a good job of giving us a look this week.
All right, now you're having the regular season wrapped up. How do you feel about your team moving into week 11?
I always say this to our kids, and this has been every year. High school football is a little, I say, dynamic, but it's weird. I do believe that every team is as good as they want to be and as bad as we want to be. So I tell our kids, depending on how they prepare mentally, it's more mental than anything else with kids. And I wish I had a degree in that because I could make $1 million. But to me, with a team like us, we're very Jekyll and Hyde sometimes. We have to be more consistent to not be that. And like I said, when we decide that we're really good, we're really good. But when we decide that we're not sure, we're pretty bad. So I always tell our kids, if we keep the mindset, you're good enough to win it. But you're also bad enough sometimes to be beat in the first round. Mm-hmm. So we have to find that happy medium, and we have to find the consistency to be on the good side of things. So, and like I said, this team is capable, like I told them, you're more than capable to win the whole thing, but you have to take it a week at a time and really understand the focus that has to be had, because now there's no second chances. Your second chance is in the locker room checking your stuff in. You don't get a redo. Mm-hmm. You don't get we'll get them next week. You don't get another district game. So it is, I won't say desperation mode, but you're in put up or shut up mode. There's no talking.
And I think and I know that Glenpool's not the same caliber as maybe like a Collinsville, right, obviously, but you kind of had that experience last week with the winner go home type game.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things where I told him, and it's kind of weird being, you're third or you're out.
It's wild. I mean, 2 losses the entire year, and one more could send you home. When you're looking at, I was talking to some people because my wife's from Atoka, the Boggy Bottom Bowl. You could have had a 3-win team go to the playoffs in 2A.
I've seen it. I've seen it before, and just unfortunate timing on losses. I think what's weird is it's kind of the loss to Sapulpa is kind of a blessing in disguise with the draw we get. If we decide to turn it on and play. Then we have a great road. I mean, the matchups couldn't be. Obviously in the semis you're going to face a really good football team. I think everybody else matches up. The road's nice. The road's maybe not as dominant as other roads. You may get an easier game the first round, but your second round game's going to be, man. Not Coweta's going to be playing Bishop McGinnis in the quarters if they're fortunate enough to win, and then Dell City gets Carl Albert in the second round if they're fortunate enough to win. So the road, to me, is a nicer road if we're able to take care of us.
All right, with that, we'll sneak aside for our first time out. This is Coffee with the Coach inside of Harbor Mountain Coffee House. We'll be back with some player interviews after a quick word.
Since 1936, Dobson Fiber believes in delivering the latest technology to the communities it serves. That's why we continue to invest in our own all-fiber network to bring your business the fastest internet speeds available. You won't believe the speed and reliability that only fiber can provide. Plus, you work with local people who know your business with 24/7 technical support. Think Dobson Fiber for all your business internet and phone needs. Dobson Fiber, fast, reliable, local.
Reagan Auto in McAllister is now offering a winterized special, which consists of a coolant flush starting at $129.99 with a free battery check. Purchase a set of tires and ask about their complimentary alignment check and road hazard options. Stop by Reagan Auto at 306 East Wyandotte Avenue in McAllister or call 918-715-3236. That's 918-715-3236.
Dougherty Pharmacy at 622 East Wyandotte, formerly known as the Medicine Shop, offers free delivery in the McAllister area. We are a 340B pharmacy, and we are a compounding pharmacy as well. With all that, Dougherty Pharmacy also has fast, friendly service. We make it easy to fill your prescriptions. Drive up, come in, or let us deliver to you in the McAllister area. That's Dougherty Pharmacy, 622 East Wyandotte, McAllister. Dougherty Pharmacy is a proud sponsor of Buffalo football.
Tannehill Furniture and Mattress is proud to support our McAllister Buffaloes. For over 30 years, Tannehill Furniture and Mattress has been your one-stop shop for all of your furniture and mattress needs. Offering quality recliners, living room sets, bedroom sets, dining room sets, and mattresses, stop by Tannehill Furniture and Mattress today and make yourself at home. Tannehill Furniture and Mattress, 5 South 5th Street in McAllister. Go Buffs! Have a great season.
For those on radio, courtesy of Philip Jewell Jr. filling in for me last week, there was your Buffalo drive of the game and their 44-6 playoff clinching win Thursday night over the Glenpool Warriors. It was the second to last scoring drive for McAllister, occurring in the dying minutes of the third quarter. That was 8 plays long, covering 84 yards in the span of 2 minutes and 40 seconds, featuring a lot of freshman running back Jordan Clark. It was capped off by that 22-yard touchdown pass from junior Caden Lesnow to junior Eli Chapman. Welcome back to Coffee with the Coach from Harbor Mountain Coffee House on 3rd Street in McAllister. This year's show is brought to you by Reagan Auto, Dobson Fiber, Dougherty Pharmacy, and Tannehill Furniture. We now welcome to the show a couple of Buffalo players, Sean Perkins and Carter Lance.
How's it going?
Welcome to the show, guys. So we like to start it off with an icebreaker like we usually do. I've got some good ones for you today. All right? The good one is going to be at the very end of it, and I'm ready to ask that one. But the first one is, what actor would you like to play you in a movie about you? What actor do you think could do it?
The Rock.
The Rock.
I'm going to have to go
Definitely
Ryan
Rock.
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds and The Rock. Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart and The Rock.
No, now featuring The Rock playing Sean Perkins. That's amazing. I love that. Hey, for Buffalo fans to get to know both of y'all a little bit better, what would you say? Or first off, let me go back. Why The Rock and why Ryan Reynolds? I want to have an explanation.
It's The Rock.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's Ryan Reynolds, I guess.
Checks out. All right, for Buffalo fans to get to know y'all a little bit better, what would you say are some hobbies of yours? We'll start off with Carter.
I just hang out with family, hang out with friends. I'm real big in my church. Just keeps me busy.
Gotcha.
Golfer. Hang out with everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot better than some players I ask, they just say football. I'm like, all right,
Football
cool.
too, yeah.
That works. Favorite subject in school? This is another question where they usually say just football, but other than football.
I mean, math's not bad for
Yeah,
me.
probably math.
Okay.
I hate English for sure.
I can't stand it.
Can't read. I have a 4th grade reading level.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Mine was history, so I'm history, and I wasn't bad at math. Math was all right. All right, let's talk a little bit about football now. Again, a couple of the questions we're going to ask you guys are about the playoffs, and we'll start off with Carter since he's next to me. But this is a question for both you guys. Playoff time's back over here in Oklahoma. How excited are y'all to get into the winner-go-home games here?
It's really exciting. Really exciting.
It's exciting. I mean, last year didn't get to play, but
Yeah.
it's very nerve-wracking right now. Just first time doing it, so
Yeah.
see how it goes.
So I mean, I know that for both of y'all, this would be pretty much your first playoffs that you're getting to have some big-time minutes here. So I know that you talked about a little bit right there, Sean, about being nerve-wracking, but how does, I guess, all the experience that you guys have had so far the first 10 games and some of the big-time games that you guys have played, because you've played Dell City, Coweta, some of the big-time teams in the state, a lot of top 10 teams in Class 4A over in Scotlandville. How much does that kind of prepare you for the playoffs?
I mean, it's just like more comfortable, I guess you'd say. Like, I'm more comfortable with that the minutes I have, so it'll help me a lot throughout the playoffs.
I mean, I've been getting comfortable with it, but some of the DNs get tough. I mean, just got to adapt.
I gotcha. And so, like I said, y'all were on the sidelines, though, for last year. I mean, you guys got to see, the big playoff run. And one that I think is awesome, and I always want to hear this come from kind of like a player's perspective, you get to have a rematch of last year's championship game with Collinsville. So from y'all's perspective, what's that like for tomorrow?
It's going to be a good game, yeah. Just knowing the meaning behind that rematch, it's going to be a really good game.
See what we can do and see if we can change it, flip it around, get a win out of it.
All right, so let's go to our last one. Like I said, always a fun one. I've been dying to ask this question ever since someone brought it to my attention. It's completely hypothetical, okay? But if you had a daughter, who's the one player on your team you wouldn't want her to date?
Garrett Shumway.
Garrett Shumway.
Garrett Shumway.
Garrett Shumway.
Garrett Shumway.
That was quick, too, and that was in unison. I loved it. All right, thank you, guys. Good luck tomorrow night against Collinsville. All right, those are Buffalo players Carter Lands and Sean Perkins. You're tuned into Coffee with the Coach. Don't go anywhere. We'll speak on the Cardinals next year on 1150 AM and 98.3 FM KNED.
Since 1936, Dobson Fiber believes in delivering the latest technology to the communities it serves. That's why we continue to invest in our own all-fiber network to bring your business the fastest internet speeds available. You won't believe the speed and reliability that only fiber can provide. Plus, you work with local people who know your business with 24/7 technical support. Think Dobson Fiber for all your business internet and phone needs. Dobson Fiber, fast, reliable, local.
Reagan Auto in McAllister is now offering a winterized special, which consists of a coolant flush starting at $129.99 with a free battery check. Purchase a set of tires and ask about their complimentary alignment check and road hazard options. Stop by Reagan Auto at 306 East Wyandotte Avenue in McAllister or call 918-715-3236. That's 918-715-3236.
Welcome back to Coffee with the Coach, brought to you by Tanny Hill Furniture, Reagan Auto, Dowdery Pharmacy, and Dobson Fiber. I'm your voice of the Buffaloes, Brandon Green, at Harbor Mountain Coffee House on 3rd Street in McAllister, live alongside McAllister Buffalo head coach Forrest Mazey. Tomorrow night, it's McAllister versus Collinsville in the first round of the Oklahoma 5A football playoffs, a rematch of last year's state championship game in which the Cardinals won 42-35. It is the only win in the series for the Birds, but it is a short series, only going back to 2010. McAllister leads the series 3-1, including a 29-9 first-round playoff win in 2012. And speaking of the first round, McAllister's all-time record in the opening round of the playoffs is 30-9.
Wow.
The Black and Gold will try to make it 31-9 in pursuit of a third gold ball. McAllister actually in the first round, top winning percentage in 5A. So that is historic there for the Buffaloes, trying to keep it going. Coach Mazey, it's time for Guess That Play.
Bring it on.
We go back to that championship game last year.
Let's do it.
That's why I think it's probably going to be.
It's going to be great.
I think it's going to be pretty easy for you. But the thing that made it feel like it was kind of hard was you guys had a lot of touchdown runs that were within 5 yards.
Yep. Yeah, that's something that may be tough.
Buffs trailing 28-21 in the third quarter with 12 seconds left. 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Ball pretty much right between the hashes.
Okay, are we going towards the big field house, their end zone?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to, not towards the hill and the scoreboard.
Okay,
you're going
it's where
towards
Trent
blocker.
Boat route. We run GH counter to the left. Trent gets in on the left side, and he stretches the ball out with his right hand.
Final answer?
Yeah, that's 100%.
All right, White, go ahead and
Two
play it.
receivers right, one left. Here's the snap. Play action. Quarterback keeper. Boatwright tries to get the corner towards the end zone. He dives in. The Ocho, the outlaw. 1 point away from tying up the game.
And then the PAT was a false start. We back up 5, and he still hits it.
That's right. That's right, man. Yeah. Gosh, just hearing the crowd, though, with that call, I love that. Man, there was nothing like that. I remember just from the get-go, both teams, both fan bases,
It was crazy. It was a absolutely crazy atmosphere.
So
I'd like to get back to that.
Yeah, I'm ready to get back to it as well. Coach, everyone was thinking of it as soon as I saw it was a possibility. What do you think about the opening round of the playoffs being a rematch of the title game?
To say it's not what I wanted would be wrong. I've kind of looked forward to getting people back, and I would like for these kids to get their revenge a little bit on them, just to watch those guys celebrate and get the silver ball and watch them hold the gold ball above their head for their town and their fan base and their community was tough. I mean, I know it was a historic season for us, but at the end of the day, that's what you came for. That's what you wanted. And you came up short. And it's very tough to watch somebody celebrate with what you wanted. And so now it's we get to end something, or have a chance to end something, with a little bit of personal business in mind. So it's it really sets up really good for us if we do take care of our business. But obviously we have to take care of Collinsville, and they're a quality football team, man. They're explosive. They do some really good things. They have good tradition right now, good confidence. I tell that to everybody. They may not. To me, sometimes teams may not be better than you, but if they have a lot of confidence, they are better than you because of the confidence. I mean, that's what kids lack these days, is true self-confidence. We battle that in a school setting daily with no self-confidence in kids, man, and that's what I think their school does a good job of, is getting their kids to be self-confident.
So you already spoke a little bit about the Cardinals here. They are a different team. They graduated 22 seniors, but they still bring back some talent from last year. One new, not addition, because he was on the team last year, but stepping into a big role, their new quarterback, Caden Rush. Andrew Carney was a stud last year for an all-state football player. But Caden Rush, a little bit different when it comes to the offense, is they pass the ball a little bit more than they did last year. So what can you see from this offense for the Cardinals?
To me, I want to take away the run. I want them to make them throw it. I want to make them try to run by us, and I want to see our kids punish people. That's just reality. I enjoy watching our kids be aggressive. I enjoy watching our kids translate what we practice onto the field in a violent manner. I hate to say that, but it's true.
Football's a violent game.
I enjoy watching our kids dominate. And when I know they've practiced well, and I feel confident in, they're going to go dominate. So I feel confident in that. Obviously, we have to go do it. It's not. I think the matchup is great. I think they match up. The matchup. I don't look at it and go, man, they really got us in a couple of spots. I feel like we match up really well with this team, so it's a team that, like I said, we could go dominate. But if we play poor, it's a team that can beat us. So I'm excited to watch them and see how they respond. I don't think I shouldn't have any problem getting the kids that have played last year up for this game. It's just getting everybody else at the same level with terrible weather.
Yeah.
And to me, I think if we can do what we do best, this weather helps. We like to lean on people a little bit. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to see us assert our physicality on them, but we're going to have to come out from the gate and do that.
Now, you're mentioning the weather and everything. It is supposed to get pretty cold. It's supposed to dip down into the 30s and windy.
I would assume very similar to that El Reno night.
So what kind of effect do you think that weather can have on a game?
Depends on what effect it has on the kid's mind. In reality, do you come, it's cold. It's not, it's not debilitating. It's not negative 50. It's not a foot of snow on the ground. So basically, it just depends on, do we let that affect our mind? Are we able to say we have a bigger goal in mind than the weather? That's just, kids that let that creep in usually are checking stuff in the next week. So, unfortunately, we don't get to practice in it. We're just going to go straight and play in it. And so that's a little different. Usually you don't go from 80 degrees to 32 at kickoff.
Same way for Collinsville, though, so they're going to have to deal with that, too.
It's the exact same thing. So, it's not – it is what it is. So it's like I said, we're no even playing field. We're going to see who has better mental toughness, better effort, and better attitudes.
All right, that's kickoff at 7 tomorrow night in Collinsville. Be sure to make the drive and support the black and gold. And remember, veterans receive free admission. We're going to take a break. Coming up next from Harper Mountain Coffee House on 3rd Street, McAllister. One final break with head coach Forrest Mazey, reading some of your questions. Don't go anywhere. You're on 1150 AM and 98.3 FM K.
Dougherty Pharmacy at 622 East Wyandotte, formerly known as the Medicine Shop, offers free delivery in the McAllister area. We are a 340B pharmacy, and we are a compounding pharmacy as well. With all that, Dougherty Pharmacy also has fast, friendly service. We make it easy to fill your prescriptions. Drive up, come in, or let us deliver to you in the McAllister area. That's Dougherty Pharmacy, 622 East Wyandotte, McAllister. Dougherty Pharmacy is a proud sponsor of Buffalo football.
Tannehill Furniture and Mattress is proud to support our McAllister Buffaloes. For over 30 years, Tannehill Furniture and Mattress has been your one-stop shop for all of your furniture and mattress needs. Offering quality recliners, living room sets, bedroom sets, dining room sets, and mattresses, stop by Tannehill Furniture and Mattress today and make yourself at home. Tannehill Furniture and Mattress, 5 South 5th Street in McAllister. Go Buffs! Have a great season.
Welcome back to Coffee with the Coach, brought to you by Tannehill Furniture, Dougherty Pharmacy, Dobson Fiber, and Reganado. Before we dive into some fan questions, let's look ahead at our broadcast schedule this week at McAllister Radio. We actually begin tonight with the Tulsa Golden Hurricane going on the road to face off with the Memphis Tigers. Kickoff at 6:30, pregame at 5:30 on KTMC AM 1400 and 96.7 FM. Then tomorrow night it's the rematch, McAllister at Collinsville, with kickoff at 7 on the station, KNED, 1150 AM, 98.3 FM, online at McAllisterRadio.com and on the KNED app. Pregame at 6:20. Then on Saturday, the Oklahoma Sooners are in Morgantown to play the West Virginia Mountaineers. Kickoff at 11, pregame at 9 on the station. And then the Oklahoma State Cowboys are back at home after a couple of rough road games, playing the Iowa State Cyclones. Kickoff is set for 2:30, with the pregame show at 12:30 on Rock 105.1 FM. Let's see if all our Oklahoma teams can have a bounce back this week. Now, all that said, let's have head coach Forrest Mazey with our final segment this morning, reading off your fan questions. If you ever have one, DM us on Twitter at Buff Sports Radio, or you can message us on Facebook at facebook.com/McAllister Radio. All right, let's get started with this one. Ann asks, have you ever played an actual football game in the snow? What was it like? And if not, what is the wildest weather you have ever played or coached in?
Ooh. Let me think about true snow. Well, I will say as a player, we left Independence, Kansas, and this was September, where we left Independence, Kansas on, I guess we went ahead and went the day of because it was a night game. Left that morning, get out to Dodge City, and it started sleeting at halftime, and it was in the September. So it was like we had no cold gear. Like we didn't, I mean,
No.
in September you're thinking, okay, no problem. And that's before phones and apps where you could check the weather on the way. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about, I mean, you get out there, short sleeves and short socks, and you're playing in, 28-degree weather and sleet in September, and you have no cold gear. So that was the toughest. But as far as the craziest weather was probably in 15 and the semifinal week against Oologah. We play at Glenpool. We practice in shorts on Thursday, and it starts raining Friday morning. By the time we get to game time, it is a north wind, 28 degrees, and sleet rain. And it's about a 20-mile-an-hour gust of wind. I remember we tried to kick a field goal against the wind. There's about a 22-yarder, and it goes almost all the way to the uprights and just stops and dies and falls. And we had a good kicker. So that's probably the craziest as far as the actual just terrible, terrible weather. Sleet rain, cold, freezing. It basically turned into freezing rain, and it was just terrible. Terrible.
No fun. Hey, Kobe asks, what is your favorite food to put in the smoker?
And bologna.
Bologna's a good one.
Something about I just keep picking at it. Mm-hmm. The other stuff is great. Don't get me wrong, and it's a little rich, gets a little overly rich. So I can't eat a lot of it, but I can eat the crap out of that bologna.
Kurt asks, what quality about you is your biggest strength as a coach?
Man, probably my strength and my weakness. It's my passion for the game. My passion for this game has given me so much in my life. It's given me opportunities in life. It's helped give me an education. It's given me opportunities to meet people. It's given me opportunities to teach young men about life. And sometimes it's my downfall too, because I put so much into this that maybe I come up short in other areas. And I hate that about the passion I have for this game. And I hate that and I love it in the same breath. So like I said, it's my biggest, upside and downfall.
Mackenzie asks, who is the most physical player that you've ever coached? And I'm not going to include, if it is one of this year's group, I'm going to say.
The most physical kid I've ever coached?
Players that have graduated under you.
Oh, man.
I'm going to change it up a little bit, Mackenzie, sorry.
Man, the most physical football player I've ever coached, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, probably my quarterback at Atoka, LT. I mean, that's good. He's probably the best pure, not the best football player, but the best football player. Does that make sense? No, I mean, it doesn't go by offers and their athletic ability and measurables. Obviously, Eric's that. But if you just take a kid that played never missed a down for me. I mean, played quarterback and threw for 11,000 plus yards.
Broke state records.
And then played every down at free safety. And people don't realize that he made 70 to 100 tackles a game or a season as well for 3.5 years.
Dadgum.
So people they know he was a quarterback. But as far as a tough, would come to hit you, would lead with his head, would get tackled and get bent all separate ways and try to run you over. I mean, to me, he embodied high school football as far as what he was, two-way player. I mean, because two-way football, you have to. I mean, that's just reality. We do it here a little bit.
Yep.
But in two-way football, that's so overall him.
And Mazey asks a great question to wrap it up. How do you balance, and we actually kind of spoke a little bit about it in the beginning of the show, or I guess like either the first or second break. How do you balance celebrating successes with correcting mistakes?
Well, it's hard. I mean, because you get complacent with success. As much success as we've had, I think everybody gets a little complacent with. Everybody gets complacent with winning, and when you win at such a high level so quick. I mean, we go from my first year 6 wins, and granted we went to the quarterfinals, but you go from that to, 11 wins semifinals, 13-1 state runner-up, and then you're sitting number 1, and everybody's thinking it's a cakewalk, and just because you're number 1. But man, you have a target on your back constantly. Sometimes you do get complacent. I mean, now don't get me wrong. Sometimes you step off the bus and you've got the game essentially won by who you are or where you're playing. Who they're playing, and so you have an edge there. But man, it's just so hard to not get complacent sometimes because you're kids. They taste so much success, and sometimes it's easy to let off the gas a little bit because life teaches us it's okay. And I say life teaches us. Social media teaches us it's okay. Life will kick you when you're down. And that's one thing I think that these kids can learn about life with the game of football. And I use football as a precursor to that, man. When you're down, it's going to kick you again. Unless you pick yourself up by your bootstraps, you dust yourself off and you go at it and you come out with a little harder, vigor and things like that. So, it's a great lesson in life they can learn if you're willing to, put your nose down and go to work, get to work and be a little bit humble sometimes and take the loss for what it is. Sometimes you just get beat. And that's life. Can you pick yourself up? Can you learn from it? Hopefully we've learned something from it.
I think that's great when it comes to kids playing football because it kind of teaches a little bit about life right there.
They have to rely on other people. It's not like any other sport. That's why I mean, baseball, you got a dominant pitcher. You can keep it down to a couple plays in the defense. Small ball, same way as softball. Basketball, you got a great point guard. I think you score 35 a game. You're in a lot of games. Manage football, you have to rely on. I mean, I don't care if Eric's running the ball ever down. If you're not blocking, he's not scoring. So you have to rely on each other. I mean, it's a great teacher of life.
All right, Coach. Anything else you'd like to wrap it up before we go to town tomorrow?
Here's the thing: is I know Collinsville is going to have an unbelievable crowd for this game. I would love for Buff Nation to make that drive, show up, support these boys on what they expect to be a great run. I don't think you're going to see anything less than the best effort they've got because they understand what's on the line. They understand if they don't win, they're checking it in on Monday. And I don't think they want that. I think it's becoming a little bit more reality for the seniors that, hey, it's getting close to the end. Playing on, I tweeted this the other day. They're playing for not only the name on the front of their chest, but they're playing for the name on the back, too, their family name. They don't want to put any disrespect on their families or this town's name, so they're going to have to play really, really hard.
That's all happening tomorrow night. Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Collinsville tomorrow night. This has been Brandon Green with head coach Forrest Mazey. If the Buffs win, we'll do it next week, same time, same place, from Harbor Mountain Coffee House on 3rd Street, McAllister. Until then, don't just have a great day. Have a Buffalo day, everybody.